Well, here we are. The very first installment of this podcast. I think we're throwing around some names.
Yeah.
I think the one in the clubhouse so far is the MorEstate
Yes.
podcast.
I'm thinking MorEstate. Mortgage meets real estate. So MorEstate, gotta love it. You guys give us some feedback on how you feel about MorEstate because we're thinking about getting some t-shirts and get some fitted caps made.
Oh, wow. Already spending money. We haven't made a single dollar off of this pod yet. We're already...
It's about brand. It's brand recognition, right? So, MorEstate, get a little hashtag. Like, I'm ready. I'm gonna give me a little polo with the little insignia.
You may be ready. My bank account is not. I'm Harvey Worlitz. This is Bryant Mormon. Bryant is with Movement Mortgage.
Yes.
You want to share a little bit about Movement Mortgage with the fine people out in...
Sure. If you can see, if this background stays, you can see the movement in the back. But everybody, my name is Bryant Mormon. I have been in mortgage lending for nearly a decade. I've been with Movement Mortgage now for the last year and a half. We do love and value people, love to help people. But yes, almost a 10-year veteran of this amazing mortgage space. Loving my time here with Movement. Shout out to the Movement Foundation and all the amazing things that they do as well.
Good stuff. Well, that's a tough act to follow. But I'm Harvey Worlitz. I am a realtor with Bolts Real Estate here in the Atlanta area. We are a brokerage that values people over profits and very service driven. We give back to our communities. We have a lot of different nonprofit initiatives where we're all about helping the underserved and really priding ourselves and helping people get access to home ownership that typically don't have such resources and access. So, but we have come together like, I don't know, Kobe and Shaq or Shrek and Donkey. I don't know.
I like it.
I'm going with Shrek and Donkey, but
Shrek and Donkey. Okay.
It's okay, bro. I'll be Shrek. It's all right. Bro, I gotta lose like 40 pounds, so I'll be Shrek for now.
You're the shorter of the two.
Okay. Anyways, we're giving this too much thought, but but this podcast that we have put together, really the goal is really just to educate, entertain, maybe bring different perspectives than what you've heard out there in the interwebs and on your Google machines. But at the end of the day, we really want to just help educate and entertain the masses. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but
sure. There is a lot of stuff that you may hear online. More than anything, I'd love to give it a neighborhood approach, very much a conversation with real people, where we can talk about the issues and break them down in a conversational format where people can say, oh yeah, maybe you heard about this. We can look at headlines and then be able to break them down on a one-to-one basis and really from a conversational style where people can understand what's going on so that they're more well-informed.
Yeah. I love it that Marvin Gaye flair. What's going on?
What you know about some Marvin Gaye, man?
Oh, man, I know
about the classics.
Listen, all I know are the classics. Now, when you talk about the new stuff that's out there, Lil Durk, Lil Baby, I couldn't tell you nothing about that. But the classics, like Stevie, Marvin, Michael, Prince, I could go way Pavarotti. What you know about?
Wow.
What you know about?
Not Pavarotti.
Oh, come on, man. He's probably the greatest male vocalist to ever live. When you talk about that kind of talent,
okay.
Find one better than Pavarotti. Maybe Bocelli, but they were a duo, kind of like us.
No, no. I'm not going to. I got nothing for it. That makes sense. I cannot think of a challenge of you bringing out like the super OG goats. So that makes sense. I'm with it.
If anybody out there in the internet world agrees or disagrees, go ahead and share who you think is the GOAT of male vocalist in the comments. But let's dive in because there's nothing to talk about in the world of real estate this week, is there? Absolutely nothing has happened. No, I could not be more facetious. There was a huge settlement with the National Association of Realtors. $418 million that NAR has agreed to pay. And their class action lawsuit that really talks about price fixing. And we're going to get into the weeds a little bit, but I have one gripe about when everything came out a few days ago. And as much as I love CNN, this headline it irks me. It says 6% commission on buying or selling a home is gone after Realtors Association agrees to seismic settlement. My wife and I actually had a very lengthy conversation on this whole idea of a 6% commission standard, right? Because there is no standard. Commission fees have always been negotiable. And I think that that's something that a lot of prospective buyers and sellers, I think in all the noise that's been going on, I think they're starting to believe like, oh, well, it's always been 6%. No, it's 6% is not, it could be 10%. It could be 2%. It's what the broker and the seller agree upon. Now, another aspect of this case is that, well, the seller is covering the buyer's agent's fee. So I'm paying for someone to negotiate against me. That sounds awesome. But taking a step back, though, is that there's never, I guess, on paper been a standard. But I mean, if you go through the MLS, and this is what my wife and I did, you go through the MLS and 98% of the listings, it's a 6% commission, 3% for the seller's agent, 3% for the buyer's agent. So it's like, you can't really, you could say there isn't a standard, but then it's like, well, actually
The number said.
you could probably derive that there's a standard. But nonetheless, here we are. There's a few different things now, right? Sellers are not obligated to pay buyer's commission. So the buyer's agent needs to work out their commission fee directly with their client or the buyer. Sellers and sellers agents do not need to disclose if they're paying commission on the MLS listings, where before you could go into the MLS and you'd see, okay, well, the buyer's fee is 3%. Okay, I know that I'm getting 3%. And then thirdly, I mean, the biggest goal for this is in the hopes of making home prices more affordable. So I would love to get your thoughts.
Forgive me, Harvey. That sounds hysterical. For one, 418 million is what you're saying?
Yeah, 418 million.
That very much sounds like the current lottery jackpot right now. But wow, that is quite a bit of money. I'm not sure that would necessarily decrease home prices.
Why not? How so? Why do you have that feeling?
I mean, when you think about a first time home buyer, does that first time home buyer have let's assume it's an FHA loan and there's a 3.5% down payment, mandatory based on what FHA says, in addition to closing costs. I'm not sure that all those first time home buyers have an additional 3% in order to pay out. There's also a rule with FHA and with VA loans as well that a buyer can't pay commissions. Now, we hadn't got any sort of guidance from Fannie and Freddie on this settlement. Hopefully some additional guidance will come along. But what I wonder is, if you're a buyer and you have just enough for your cash to close, and you say, hey, I can't afford to give my buyer's agent this 2 to 3%, does that arbitrarily mean now the home price is going to go up? I mean, our average price point now is north of $400,000. So does that mean that now that $400,000 house, is that house now $412 instead?
Well, I mean, I hypothetically putting myself
to offset
in the seller's shoes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. If I know that, hey, you're actually going to roll this in and you're not taking a financial hit out of your wallet, so to speak, on the front end, I'm going to go get my money. I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, you're going to pay whatever, 4%, 5%, whatever. Okay, I'm going to adjust my price accordingly. And I don't, and sellers who are savvy, who are, I mean, yeah, I'll say savvy. They're going to be the ones that win in this situation, because they're not gonna see any dip in any type of the proceeds that they're getting outside of saving an additional 3%, right? The more larger impact is you're not gonna see home prices dip, I think, in the way that they were hoping through this settlement.
I don't think so either. I mean, I would, and this is me coming, if I were in a position where I was going to say sell my house, I'd say, hey, Harvey, what are in my neighborhood? What are the current buyer commissions looking like? And I would also think, as a seller, I'm ideally looking at what are my net proceeds, and wouldn't you just price that in? I mean, it just seems logical to me. Just from if I were a seller, I'd be looking at
that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So
because
if the goal is I'm a seller, I want to sell my house. Okay, Harvey, I want to sell my house. I want to make sure my house is attractive. Hey, I know in order to facilitate this smooth process, I know now, granted, I do this for a living, so I know the value that a buyer's agent brings. So if it's me and I'm the seller, wouldn't I just work that into the net profits? If I know my goal is
exactly
is to profit $50,000 from this house, and my listing agent is telling me, hey, Brian, it looks like in your neighborhood, the buyer's agent has been making fill in the blank amount of commissions, whether that's 1%, 2%, 3%. Okay, let's just work that into the price.
Yeah.
And then go from there. So I wonder will we really see any, if it's a savvy seller and a savvy listing agent, I wonder if this is even going to change. I'd be interested to see somebody break this down to me, how they think that's going to lower prices.
That we were once able to see ourselves, but we've disappeared. But anyways, we'll
snap.
There we are. I think on top of that, the thing that I'm concerned about, in addition, is with all of the noise out there with the headlines, I think we're going to see more and more sellers and buyers feel like, well, I could just sell the house myself. And you've always had that option. Just like if you get a court case, you have the option to represent yourself or to hire a lawyer. It's probably in your best interest to hire a lawyer, just like I think it's in your best interest to hire an agent to advocate and represent you, because there are just so many things within the home buying process the average person doesn't know. And you know what? God bless you guys. You feel emboldened, like, I don't need an agent and I can make more money and I can do all, but
isn't that why we hire attorneys to represent us? Isn't this why a lot of people hire an accountant?
Yes.
Because we ultimately, you find an expert and you pay the expert for their expertise. I mean, I don't know the numbers. You might know more than me, but I'd be interested to see what it's called, the FSBO, for sale by owner.
Yeah,
so I'd be interested to see in the same neighborhood, let's just say it's the exact same house. I'd be interested to see how much does the for sale by owner person with no real estate experience sell their house for versus the person that uses a listing agent in order to market their home. I want to say 80% of the time, the person that uses the real estate agent is going to make significantly more. Like there's staging.
I would guess, and again, I have no. This is just strictly my opinion here, but I would say you're probably making anywhere between 20 to 30% more if you have representation than if you don't. And to your point, I think that it does. It goes just far beyond price, right? I mean, contract negotiations, due diligence, home inspections, other resources that can be leveraged to help offset your cost, or, just things within the home buying process that could save you money that the average person doesn't know, but your agent could be able to help you guide and advise you on doing. And it goes the same way when you're listing a home too. You have those same, you have that same guidance and advisement, how much to properly list your home for, comp reports. And then you have just experience, right? If I'm canvassing an area and I've sold 3 homes on your block, I could probably give you a better idea of what your home is worth than using Zestimate on Zillow.
What about those off-market deals? Because you're in a real estate office
Yeah.
with multiple other professionals. Maybe they have something that's coming to the market. So I think on the buyer side, you could provide that as a value. I wonder if it just means that buyers agents, maybe especially, just like, because of course, if you get a listing, you have to provide your value proposition to
100%.
that prospective seller to say, hey, I can do these 5 bullet points, and this is going to increase the amount of money you can sell your house for. I wonder if now the buyers agents will now have to have an elevator speech to be able to say, this is the value that I bring, and this is why you should use me.
I can tell you that is exactly what's going to happen. I think a lot of the things you see on the listing side, right, where what listing agents do on listing appointments, right? Basically, they bring their portfolio and they bring their different properties they've sold. I mean, basically, it's a presentation of why you should list your home with me, right? It's a presentation that shows their value. Typically, only the listing agent has really done that. Buyer's agents, you network, you meet someone, and then you have like a buyer consult. But a buyer consult is different than a listing appointment, right? You're going to basically start seeing buyer's agents have those same kind of meetings with prospective buyer clients, because now it's an open market.
So almost by
the way, it's always been an open market. You can pick whoever you want to represent you. But I think in this dynamic now, buyer's agents are going to have to show their value. And maybe, and this is something that I'm going to be doing, and my wife as well, is have a tiered system. If you want A, B, C, D, E services, my fee is whatever, 2%. If you want, E, F, G, H, I, J services, my fee is 3%. If you want, the whole suite of goodies and bells and whistles, it's 4%. And give these buyers agents range of these buyers a range of what they want to pay. Something very similar. Mm-hmm. And I say similar very loosely because, again, if you go through the MLS, everyone's charging 6% mostly. But I think it's going to be something very similar to what listing agents have been doing. And in a lot of ways, I think it's good for our industry. I think it's going to help move our industry forward. I also think that it's going to create more competition, and competition also weeds out the weak, and those agents that are just there kind of coasting along, I think will end up leaving the industry, because it's going to be very, very competitive, and only the savvy and the creative and the tenacious, in my opinion, will survive.
So it sounds like, y'all, what Harvey is saying is real estate agents need to get their social media weight up. You need to have social proofs. And almost back in the day when you still had a paper resume and you would have your 3 references at the bottom. Sounds like we're going to need to get some references around here.
Yeah. I mean, and
so Harvey, I can use you as a reference. Like if I meet with another real estate agent, can I say, hey, call Harvey. He's going to put in a good word for you.
Yeah,
for me.
please do.
Okay.
Absolutely. I also think, though, that in this industry, even more so, it's going to be about what's that saying? Your net worth is your network.
100%.
And I think that now in this day and age in our game of real estate, I think who and the resources you have is going to play an even bigger role, because you want to show that. I mean, at least for me, right? And I'm sure for you as well when you talk to your clients. I'm a one-stop shop. Whether you need to buy a home, refinance your home, whether you want to renovate your home, whether you need new water gutters, I got you. I have a Rolodex of people that I can get you in contact with. You don't need to talk to anyone else.
So we do the purchase, we do the refinance, and we know we do the renovation as well.
Exactly. So I think that those agents that can package everything up nicely, because really, if I'm buying a home, I just want to buy a home. I don't want to think about a carpet guy or painters, or that's just more added stress. And I think that that's the goal of what we do. We try to take the stress away from our clients. Listen, we want to make this as as a seamless, enjoyable experience for you as possible. And we're here to educate too, just like on this podcast. Hey, I just saw this crazy, settlement, with NAR. Like, what's that about? How does that affect me? And I think that those agents that and mortgage bankers, mortgage brokers, etc., that can be a one-stop shop. Those are the ones that are really going to thrive in this new landscape that we're entering into.
Makes sense. So it sounds like, to summarize, the sky is not falling.
No.
And we just need to step up our game. That's an oversimplification.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
The sky is not falling.
Yeah. No, the sky is not falling. And even if it was, there's you and I here to help you guide your fall.
What Harvey said.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Harvey. That's right. Well, listen, we can put a bow on this gift wrapped first episode. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add on to anything we've discussed.
Not that I can think of. I think this was a good first podcast. Shout out to our AV personnel.
Yeah.
Who are amazing.
Dom's
over
Dom. Here like Superman. It's like I looked up and he was over here, and then I look up again and I was like, I didn't even see him move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But thank you everybody for checking us out. More stuff to come. Let us know what y'all think about that MorEstate, and we'll see you for the next one. Yeah.
MorEstate, or if you can think of something better, definitely drop it down in the comments. Also, any questions you have regarding real estate, especially real estate here in Atlanta, leave some comments. If you have any show ideas, any questions, really, we are here to serve you. We're here to talk about the things that you want to talk about, the things that you care about. So please don't hesitate. Go ahead, leave a comment below. I don't know if you want to leave any Instagram, social media. You want to let the people know where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I am Mortgage Pilot. I'm also licensed in Illinois, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida as well.
Okay. Well, he just made me look some kind of way because I'm only licensed in one state, and you're licensed in 3-4 of them.
But what you just said, it's all about the network. So I'm sure you have you know some great people in several states.
I know a couple.
So
I know a couple.
It'll work itself out.
Yeah. Wow, that kind of threw me off for a second. That was funny. You can find me on Instagram at Harvey Worlitz, I have other content there. I'm really just out there to really educate and inform. So I hope you guys enjoy all the content that I have there. Hope you enjoyed this first episode, and we'll see you next time.
Rachel, take care.